So I've got a bit of a production line going at the moment. The two behind are all shaped, they're ready for sanding. This one I've just dropped down, so I'm going to have an hour tonight before we finish. Then I have an hour in the morning. Then those two are going to be ready for sanding tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully get them sanded and maybe a coat treatment on by the end of the day tomorrow, and hopefully get them up the day after that. Yeah, we're getting there. That takes us down to the last three that are already in. So you know, we've broken the I don't know, what do you break? There's the straw that broke the camel's back. It's broken its back. It's just broken its back, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, we've broken its back. Oh dear. It's looking a little bit like a game of plunge at the moment, because I've got them going different angles and one thing and another. All I need is some massive marbles and we could have a game. Anyway, we'll carry on. We'll have an hour and then call it a day. It's gone 6, so I'm about ready for a beer. So we'll have an hour and come back to it tomorrow. Right, this afternoon what we're going to do, we're going to have a go at doing some kind of natural stain on these beams, these joists. So we've got 3 offcuts, sanding them up roughly. They're not like the finished article, but they're good enough. So it's going to give us an idea of what, of potentially how they could look. So we're going to use a white vinegar and wire wool method that we've seen, we've been researching. We've seen the results online. They look like it could produce what we really want. So we're going to give it a go. First of all, we've got to boil the vinegar, then put it in some jars, add the wire wool. The wire wool needs to be rinsed through washing up liquid water just to get rid of any excess oil that they've put on, obviously initially to stop it rusting. And then leave it for an hour. And let it do its thing. So we'll do that now. We'll go through the process. Obviously we're not going to sit and watch the vinegar boil, yeah, we'll see how it looks in an hour or so. So yeah, curious to see how things pan out, pardon the pun. Becky will probably cut that one out. So yeah, let's crack on and see what it looks like.
The boiling point over, isn't it?
You have no idea.
think it's dragon fruit, isn't it?
Lighter one in theory.
You'd say that one's more. Is it just a grey?
Yeah, maybe. Just leave them out.
That's a lot grayer, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that was the one that I said. Less.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's looking nice. Right, so what we've got here, these 3 offcuts that we stained, like I said the other day. The far one's quite dark, it's a little bit grey as well. I think it may have just been slightly, you know, different colour to the wood. So we're completely discounting that. Not that we could replicate it, I don't think. The centre one was done, that was much lighter than this to start with. That was used with the lowest quantity of steel wool. It was far too light, so what I did after we'd done, we'd put all the treatments on here, I put the leftover wire wool into one pot, left it for half an hour, and then did that, which is why it's much darker. It's actually too dark, it's too dark for what we want really. This one here is one we're going to use more or less. It's like a mid oak colour. It's you know, it's a really nice colour, perfect I think. But we're going to try it on this beam. I'm going to do it this afternoon. Mix up. I think we used around 12 fluid ounces, around 1/3 of a litre according to Google, of vinegar, and probably around 50 centimetres of the wire wool. The wire wool is obviously pretty uniform, width-wise, thickness. So I think if we cut it to 50 centimetres we're not going to be far off. If it ends up being a bit light, it's no problem, we can always darken it. And I know it's not, you know, hopefully it won't be too dark. If it's too dark we can always sand it back. So it's a bit of a, you know, it's a bit of Russian roulette really. But I think if we err on the side of caution and keep it lighter, on the lighter side of dark, if you know what I mean, we shouldn't be too far wrong. Right, we've put a couple of coats on this now. Started off with quite a weak mix, and then I upped the quantity of steel wool to vinegar, 50% more steel wool, which did produce a slightly darker solution. It is colouring up. It's probably a little bit difficult to see on camera, but it's definitely colouring up. You can see a big difference between the front and the underneath, which we've not done. It's obviously still a way off where we want to be. Now, one thing I forgot to do was rinse the wire wool in sort of washing up liquid and water to remove any oil residue that may, be on the wire wool, which they would put on prior to packaging to stop it rusting, in the packet before it's even sold. So that could be a problem. So what I've done, I've mixed up another batch with the wire wool well and truly rinsed. Original quantities, I'm going to put that on the first beam nearest the wall before we finish tonight, and we'll leave them both overnight. See what we've got in the morning. It'll be interesting to see, the difference between the unwashed and the washed wool solution. See how dark that front beam potentially is compared to how dark this was. Now I expect these to darken up overnight. Obviously I don't think they're going to go as dark as any of these, but we'll leave it. I don't want to go too far now. We'll leave it, we'll come back in the morning, not going to rush this, and we'll see what we've got. So yeah, that's about it really. We'll get the back one done, which I'm going to wait another 10-15 minutes for my hour to be up on the waiting time for it. But we'll be about there soon, so we'll get that done, come back in the morning and see what we've got. Right, so what we've got in front of you is the three solutions I've been using. This one on my right, on your left, is the one that we've just cleaned with the washing up liquid and water, rinsed through. I've put that on the beam that's closest to the wall. It's obviously the lightest in colour, so it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. The one in the middle was the one that we put the most wire wool in and put more wire wool in. That's obviously the darkest solution. It's a shade darker than what this is on my right, on my left, your right. Which this is the same solution as this one, but this was the unclean wire wool, the one that had not been washed. So yeah, we'll leave them overnight now. We'll see what happens. Be interesting to see how much colour this puts into the beam after it's been cleaned. It may be that it's better not to do anything with it at all. Obviously we tried it on a few offcuts, and we got some nice coloration on those. Should have probably remembered what we did with them really. So taking a bit of a sidestep here, but if we have a little bit of time, we'll get it right, and then once we've figured out the exact quantities, we can just blitz through these beams, because they're not going to take long to do at all. It's taking 5 minutes to put this solution on the front face, so you're looking at 15 minutes a beam, and then just same time to wax it. So we'll get through these in a day, as and when we come to doing it. I think I'll leave that one to Becky. She likes that sort of thing. So yeah, on that note, we'll call it a night, and come back in the morning, see how much they've coloured up or not, and see what we need to do from there. Right, we've come back this afternoon, following day from putting the 2 or 3 coats of stain on the beams. It has coloured them up. We're getting very close now to where we need to be. I'll show you that in a sec. These have been left overnight and they've gone quite a lot darker, so we're going to use this one in the middle, which was the darkest one anyway, put another coat on, hopefully that'll get us somewhere near. Doesn't seem to have made any difference washing the wall or not washing it, so I don't think we need to do that. It doesn't seem to be releasing any more colour, etc. I think they've gone darker overnight because there's obviously residue filings of little pieces of the wire wool in there that have just steadily coloured the water as they've effectively rusted. So I think it might be a good way to go is to mix a batcher up, leave it overnight, come to it in the morning, then hopefully we'll get away with just having one coat, but we'll see. We might need to build it up. It's not a long process as you've seen, so it's no big deal if we have to give it a couple of coats. So we'll get on now, we'll put this on, this first beam, it's got the samples on top of it, and then we'll put another coat on the beam next to the wall, because that has coloured up, but it's still a way off. So we'll get these on now and see how it looks later on.